And true to form, Herbert, with all the skill of an inexperienced tracker, found these lions at Gallagher Pan and called us in. And there we have some of the youngest members of this pride. Oh, they're cute. I must be honest, there's very few things that move a person as much as seeing these cubs, or cubs of this particular size. So Herbert tells me that he walked into the lions, all of them together, in this block, exactly where we thought they were going to be. And they all ran away from him. And they all ran to this place, and then have come out of the bush here. And they don't look scared at all. I mean, these lions, in all honesty, have had people around them for quite some time. And although terrified of people on foot, and can be quite scary if you walk into them on the wrong day, they tend to settle down quite. My point is, they tend to settle down after a scare. Some lions that I've walked into the Kruger stay alert for ages. I'm going to go just around these lions so that we've got them drinking. I'm going to scare these babies. I'm going to take a bit of a wide loop. And try and come into them from the other side and get them drinking. Do you want the sun? Where, Brian? Alex, you've just asked me, how do lions stay warm in winter? That's a good question, Alex. They do shiver, the same as what we do. They also have that quite thick fur, and they lie on top of one another as well. Have a look at this fantastic sight. Look at that little baby. Doesn't need to drink any water, in actual fact. They get all their fluid needs from mom, but they will drink when water is available. Look at the rest of the pride coming up here. Dust around their feet. Oh, lovely. Should I go forward a bit more, Brian?
Yeah, we can.
I'm going to go forward a little bit more. We're going to get this big male coming down to drink as well. I think it's going to make for some spectacular shots for you. Get the sun 100% out. Herbie is the bomb, Margaret. I agree 100% with you. Have a look at this. Get your screen grabs ready. Now, I'm not speaking just because it's so interesting to listen to them drink. There's nothing wrong with the sound. Oh, they smell skinny. They haven't eaten in a few days. These little cubs, obviously oblivious to the needs of the pride in terms of security and food, and are just reveling in the fact that they are surrounded by lots of playmates. That tail swishing there. There we go. Exhibiting just exactly what cubs do. That play fighting, skills that are so important to learn as they get older. The one in the tree jumping down. Little mock charge. Now comes some help. Just to give everybody an update on the radio. The stations there, Nkuhuma Pride, have now moved east away from Gallagher down towards the riverbed. Visual of just the tail end of the cubs. I'm in the area. You're more than welcome to join. It's just myself, no one else on approach yet. Copy that. You're welcome when you get. So now this little cub, most of the cubs are heading away. Mom is now coming back to fetch them. Look at this little cub on the left hand side hunting this dove. So some doves gave this little cub a fright. Although the doves are now walking away from him, he was stalking. See the ones in the tree on the left hand side, Brian? That is such an awesome picture, that. Oh no, it is such an awesome sight. In that sort of picture that you're just watching there now appeals to me. Action on all sides. Little cubs just run down there now. What I don't want to do is start my car. There's one little cub that was hunting the dove. He's now would be cut off if I moved toward those cubs. So I think what I'm going to do is just wait here and see what happens. Mom came back out of the shadows to call them, but they don't seem to be paying her any mind whatsoever. It's just cubs sort of littered across this open area here. There he goes. He's going to come and join his friends in the tree. Let's see what they do to him. They'll probably try and hunt him to some effect or another. Ambush him from the side of the bush. Yes, you can see them go down. There you go. And watch the other one ambushing, gone flat on the left-hand side of the path. You can just see the outline of the head there in the grass. That is just thousands of years worth of lion behavior. Shamsung, yes, you've just made a comment that they remind you of Tigger, the way they bounce around there. I have no doubt that someone watched lion cubs at a point and then modeled these cartoon characters on them. There's sometimes the likeness is uncanny that they can generate from those early cartoon characters. Oops. Embarrassed. Running off. Alright, now we have got our work cut out for us trying to get into that place. I must be honest, it's not going to be the easiest. There we go. Found these cubs. They are now trying to catch up with mom. They're not holding back anymore, not like they were at the pan. They're now right on top of one another. Still quite boisterous. Male lion still making his way through the mess of cubs. Just 2 more cubs left. This one at the back is already showing behavior reminiscent of, or not reminiscent, but behavior similar to that they'll exhibit when they're older. This reluctance to want to be close to mom and on their own. Dangerous for a little cub to be left behind this far. The reason for that is that cubs that get left behind and are not secured get gobbled up by hyena and killed by leopard and wild dog very quickly. Sorry, Brian. Just want to make sure that he's not behind us. Okay. Big male lying there. Let's see if they give him some nonsense. They're fumbling Hansi. They're fumbling. Here comes a big female at the grass. Alright, I just have to... Whoa, what's going on here? Wow. That male's obviously, his irritation levels are at a super high at the moment for some other odd reason. We just had to force that female into a very submissive behavior there. So that happens sometimes when male lions are trying to... Hello. That happens sometimes when male lions are trying to assert dominance, when they're feeling a little bit of pressure for whatever reason. And need to try and assert their dominance over the females. I'm not 100% sure exactly what elicited that. I wasn't looking at what that female did, but I think what she did was she came up too close behind him. Have a look at that. What you're looking at there is just dominance behavior. It looked like mating. It looked like an attempted covering. But it wasn't. It's just literally just lions just being lions. They are just ruled by this compulsion to dominate. Good morning. How are you? Good, thank you. Good, thank you. Hello, everybody. Good. So we are joined by Taxon and Aubrey in the sighting with us. What do you think they're going to do, Mr. Brown? You think they're going to cross that drainage line? I think they are heading down there. The one female, she's still in view there. She doesn't look like she's keen on following this male anywhere. Way to go. These females and the cubs are not going down into the drainage line. They're just staying on this little island. I'm actually just keen on just waiting right here just for a bit, just to see exactly what their plan is. So they got some of these cubs, they haven't gone down. I think they're this female's cubs there. They're coming back to her now. As you saw from that male and female lion interaction, cubs can sometimes be caught in that general uproar and be given a smack unintentionally that does some damage. And it definitely isn't uncommon for male lion to kill cubs unintentionally, even their own ones. Okay, so she's now walking down there. Some lion action here. Brian, you think we can squeeze through that gap there? I think so. I'm going to give it a bash. Let's see if we can squeeze through that gap. Just bear with us. I'm going to try and do it as quietly as I can. You can see Mom in the distance there. This little cub. Isn't that face just fantastic? Still got this male lion growling, I think. Look at this little one. He's now going to come and chew the stick a bit. That mother's not wanting to nurse that little baby, and so he was just disciplined. Now he's moaning. Upset with love. At this stage, their teeth have erupted, and it's actually quite painful for the mom to suckle. Quite often at this particular stage, female lions bleed from the cubs just chewing on them. I can see the babies are wanting, the youngest cubs are wanting to suckle now as well. So Jay Atkinson, you've just commented on that interaction that we saw between the male and the female lion, and you said that maybe it was because the female got too close to the cubs that was with the male, and that elicited that aggressive response. How do I feel about that? I don't think so. It's the cubs are really solely the responsibility of the females to look after, and it's usually the females that have this aggressive reaction to the male. Let's see if I can deduce what's happening here. Potentially what happened was the female didn't want to be separated from the cubs by the male, walked up behind the male, and maybe there was some subtle interaction there that I missed, and the female overstepped her boundary, and the male had to just assert his dominance over her. Not forgetting that the only reason why this male is tolerated around these females is because he is more dominant than what they are. Female lions will only mate with the most dominant male in the area. There's no allegiance to that male. There's just a submission. So there's no allegiance to this male, in which case they don't owe this male a kingdom of such. And Nancy, you've just commented that maybe he wants her to stay clear of the female that he wants to mate with. Possibly. He may have thought that it was just there may have just been a misunderstanding there. He thought he was being snuck upon from behind. Very possible that that's a reason there, Nancy. Yeah, just a weird reaction there. I mean, why that male would choose to do something like that. I mean, it wasn't aggressive. if you remember, he was quite upright. He was trying to stand as tall as he could over her. That's just dominance. That's not an attack. I think what he did was he jumped at her. She immediately went into submissive behavior, which was lying on her side, exposing her belly and her flanks like she did, and being as low as what she can. That was a submissive behavior. I'm just going to have to make a little bit of space here so that Aubrey and Taxon can come in as well. We're going to have to squash a few vehicles in here. So I'm just going to move the car a little bit. They're lying in a place where we can literally only just see these three cubs. And you'll see, because of our careful nature around these cubs, we've got a vehicle approaching, and you will notice how little attention, firstly, the mother gives these cars, and that's the important one. And then secondly, but just as importantly, these cubs, the next generation of adult lions that we'll have in this area, grow up not fearing cars. And it's because we behave in a very, very respectful way to these lions. You can see that they are noticing a 3,000 pound or 4,000 pound car arriving, but they're not scared. Is that good? Yeah. I've just had Texan say that this is the only visual that he can see of these lions. They're lying literally on a bank that is almost inaccessible for vehicles. Now this time of year, as we've predicted would happen, the lions are literally camping next to these pans, and they're starting to do it because animals are getting desperate. They are literally moving kilometers between feeding areas and between watering points. And this Gallagher pan is just one of those fantastic watering points that just attracts a vast amount of game, in particular buffalo. And these Nkuhuma lions are buffalo specialists. They really know how to kill buffalo. And they're very good at it. And I think that is exactly why they are camping out at this pan. That male lion could do with a meal. His dewlap was hanging on the bottom of his belly. His hips were sticking out. He's not in bad shape, but he needs some food. And I'm sure that these females haven't killed anything substantial in the last 2 or 3 days. They could also do with some food. Do you want me to go forward a bit more, Tax? The female is lying under that guarri, and the male has gone off the edge there. Texan just shakes his head. Like he doesn't know where these lions have gone. You'd never say there are 15 lions lying within 30 feet of where we are, just looking at these 2 cubs. Not 1 in 3 vehicles can actually see them. Or all of them, I should say. All right, and while this cub disappears here into the bush and gives us what would seem to be the last glance of these particular cats today, I think it's a good time to go to Brent for an update, and we'll see if we can reposition in the meantime.